Welcome to the Fraidy Cat Podcast. I'm Kelly McFarland.
And I'm Carolyn Plummer.
And we're back for another episode of Everything That Is Fraidy. We don't have a guest this time.
Not for this episode.
Not for this episode. We don't need a guest for this episode. I mean, we'll always have a guest. We like a guest. We'll take a guest, but we don't need one this week.
Nope.
No, we had one, and we weren't going to replace him because we'll just use him another time.
Sure.
And we recently, what are you looking at? Looking down at your hands? Oh. Yeah. And we had an adventure recently to a haunted place, so we'll just talk about that this time around. Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay. You took a mini vacation recently.
Yep, the week that it rained almost every single day.
It sure did. It rained almost every single day.
Yep.
And
that checks out, though, because
yeah.
we took a vacation to Florida and we were in the middle of a hurricane.
We did take a vacation.
Yeah.
Shame on us. We didn't look to see when hurricane season is.
It's 8 months out of the year.
I mean, chances are you're going to hit it.
Yeah.
You know? When isn't it?
That it's not.
I don't know what the 8 months are. I know one of them's September because that's when we were there.
Yeah. Well, you can't plan that a year ahead of time.
I mean, we could have Googled it, but we didn't. Yeah.
Whatever.
This vacation, though, I was like, I'm kicking around. What do you want to do? So we did a little excursion up to the North Shore of Massachusetts, and we went and saw the Hammond Castle.
Yep.
Museum, right? That's what they make you call it.
Well, it is a castle. It's a medieval-style castle built on the cliffs of Gloucester.
Right.
Sounds way more impressive than it actually
Gloucester,
is.
Massachusetts. So. It actually was super impressive. I didn't know what to expect. This was Carolyn's idea. I had never heard of it.
I had seen it on Ghost Hunters, so I was like, oh,
yes.
It's haunted. It's going to be cool. And then they talked about all these patents and all this stuff you did for the war effort. And
there
all
was
of
a lot of science. There was a lot of science. Also, the guy was a weirdo, so that part I really, really enjoyed.
But I wish they talked more about the weirdo stuff.
Well, we're going to talk about it tonight.
He was the father of radio control because
yes.
he did groundbreaking work with radio waves.
John Hayes Hammond Jr., born
yes.
1888, died in 1965. He was the son of a very wealthy individual, and they were...
He was a mining engineer, John Hayes Hammond Sr.
Yes, a mining engineer. And then this guy, how many patents did they say he had? I don't even remember.
I don't think I have a list. It's like over 3,000 or something. It was something crazy.
Like, do you remember that movie with Jennifer Lawrence? I think it was called Joy. And she, was trying to get some sort of spin mop or something made.
I did not see that movie.
Why do you look mad at me?
Because that sounds like a very boring.
It was a great movie. It's a true story.
Doesn't sound like something I'd ever want to watch.
It's a true
I don't think I'd get any joy from
watching. We
watching
went and got
Joy.
tacos before this, and I swear to God, I feel like I have pineapple salsa all through my teeth. So I feel like this entire episode, I'm just gonna be re-enjoying, which is so gross. I'm so gross. Okay. Anyway, this movie, she was on the Home Shopping Network. Let me know when this rings any bells for
No,
you.
I have not seen this movie.
Okay, but it's a true story.
Okay.
And it's a true story. I shouldn't have said but. So anyway, that's what this guy reminded me of, only for his time, back in the early 1800s. I mean late 1800s, early 1900s. What was it, 3,000 or something?
It was a crazy number.
That.
No, it was a crazy number of patents that he had, and most of it had to do with science stuff, like radio waves was his main thing. He built a ship that he could radio control in Gloucester Harbor, and he used to fuck with the fishermen.
Yes.
And just have this ghost ship floating around, and he'd be in his house going,
Yeah, he had a remote control for it. He would mess with the people in Gloucester a lot. He made this, so if you're familiar, if you're not familiar, Gloucester is a fishing town. A lot of ships come out of there. A lot of fishermen live there. They use it as a port. And it's been that way for hundreds of years now. Yeah. So he made, out of old tires, he made a sea serpent type thing.
Yeah.
And he took it out and put it in the harbor. so that people would think there was some sort of sea serpent in the harbor. Like, he would just mess with people all the time. Kind of an eccentric guy, little bit. And he made this castle. He wanted to have a castle. I thought the castle itself was really impressive.
It was just with all the other stuff that I knew about him, I thought they'd touch on it more.
Yeah.
Like one of his prized possessions, which is still on display in the castle, but I don't remember seeing this, is a human skull.
Yes.
Rumored to be from one of Christopher Columbus's crew members.
They did not show us the skull, and I found the skull when I was looking it up as well.
I'm like, I didn't see a skull. Chris, that was her.
Oh yeah, Chris from the Hammond Castle Museum tour guide.
Chris, where was the skull, Chris?
Chris, I loved your vest and tie combo.
I'm sorry you were losing your voice.
He wasn't really losing his voice.
Allergies.
Like, yeah, it was like, just clear your throat or get a sip of something. But I don't remember seeing
I didn't see a skull.
No.
We saw the baby crypt.
We did see a baby crypt.
That he has on display by his pool.
Do you say baby crypt or baby crypt?
It was for a baby, so I don't know. It wasn't a crypt either. It was a sarcophagus.
God bless you. That word's so crazy.
Crypt is like a building. It wasn't a building.
Yeah,
it was a sarcophagus.
He had a couple of those.
Yeah, but one had two. Remember, it had a mismatched top, but it was for a baby.
Yes.
Which is kind of a little.
Well, let's take a step back so that people can get.
Let's talk about the actual castle so people get into.
Yeah,
what it looks
that
like.
I agree. Let's talk about him for a second, though. He was a pioneer in the radio waves type of thing, and Edison had told him that he like rubbed elbows with Edison.
He was
and
a protege of
Tesla
Edison.
and that type of thing. So he and his family, the money itself came from his parents, but then he had it in his own right. He made his own wealth. He was an eccentric. Carolyn was really interested in this because he was into the occult.
Right.
And they didn't talk about that at all. We actually tried to bait them with questions.
Yeah, and this
Chris,
is the part.
The tour guide in a vest.
So, like, even in this article, they say it is rumored that Hammond had a fascination with the occult, held many seances at the castle, and filled his library with books about the occult.
Yeah.
I didn't see those.
He did mention that, so they did mention that the Lorraine and what's his nuts?
Who's Lorraine?
Your people that you like, the seance people.
Oh, the Ed and Lorraine.
Ed and Lorraine.
I can't think of their last name.
Damn it.
Harris? No.
We really need like an intern.
Ed Harris is the actor.
Ed Harris, who sits right.
Yes, the
Thank
Warrens.
you so much. Thank you.
I know that. I don't know why. I didn't.
Yeah. Ed and Lorraine, that they had come there once to do a seance.
Yeah.
So you walk into the castle. You basically
There's a gift shop.
oh my gosh, there's a gift shop with the weirdest shit in it. There were like spoon rests and
beer steins.
And the view was great from the gift shop, I will say.
And the ladies' room.
In the ladies' room. It overlooked the ocean. Gloucester's a beautiful area. If you
It's
haven't
on
been
a
up
cliff,
there.
so there's
Right.
like the ocean smashing against the.
It's beautiful.
And it was raining, so it was kind of choppy, so it looked nice.
Yeah, it looked really nice. When you arrived, though, we parked and we weren't even sure if we were in the right place because you're up on this cliff and you can kind of see the castle peeking out over the treetops. So you have to walk down these stairs and there's all these signs that tell you to be careful on the stairs. The stairs were the scariest part of the castle. There's a handrail, but it's wooden with like splinters. It hurt. And the steps aren't the right, like they're not the same distance between each step. So it was a little treacherous to get down there. And then once you enter the castle, as Carolyn was saying, there's a gift shop immediately. That's where you go.
Which used to be the lab, they said.
Yes, it was his lab.
And then you walk into like this foyer and it was hot as balls. And then he told us we were going to go on the tour. So there's all people that had been at Woodman.
It really was. So for lunch, we made a reservation at a restaurant. I will not name the restaurant because I don't think that's fair to the restaurant, but we made a reservation.
We didn't make a reservation. We just went there and they
Are
were
you
closed.
sure? I
I'm
feel like
positive.
I made one on Open Table.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, anyway, we
closed.
go there. They're closed. They're like cleaning the carpets. And then, so then Carolyn says, well, isn't Woodman's around here somewhere? And I was like, oh, yeah, I've been to Woodman's. So we went to Woodman's in Essex. And it was your first time there. What did you think?
It was good. It was fried seafood. And, yeah, I'd never been there, but it lived up to the hype. I thought it was good.
It's really cute. It's very old school. Everything is battered and fried. You order, and then you go to your table, and then they shout out your number, and you go up and you pick it up. Yeah, what did we get?
We got a platter that we split.
Yeah.
A seafood platter.
They had like scallops.
Shrimps. Fish.
Fishes.
Clams.
The fish was my favorite part, and I've never said that.
I know. It was really, really good.
Like real fish. Not like
cod, I think.
Sure. I don't know.
Scrod.
It was a delicious white fish.
New England, everything's scrod.
And the place was packed. It was really busy. This is just,
And it was raining.
Yeah, and it was raining, but it was packed. Then we go over to do the tour, and we see people from the place. So they also
were
went
on
to
tour
Woodman's.
with us. They went and got seafood and came to the tour.
So we were all not feeling well because we had all just eaten fried food. So we entered the tour, and the tour guide was great. His name was, as we've established, Chris. And he was fine. And we were trying to bait him, and he would not tell us certain things.
Maybe they're not allowed to because they do a ghost tour at night, which we should have done.
Yeah.
But
no,
he was into, like, the occult, and he did a whole, like, experiments
Chris,
with
the
this
tour guide, or this?
No, Hammond.
Hammond.
He did these telepathic experiments with a well-known psychic, Eileen Garrett, from 1951 to 1952. And they were trying to figure out if ESP was radio waves. So they put her in a Faraday cage, which blocks radio waves, and to see if she could still do her ESP, and she could. So they determined that electrical current wasn't how telepathic stuff got passed. Because she was in a Faraday cage. She was a clairvoyant. And, like, I find that way more interesting than the fact that Taft was there.
He did mention
good
old Taft.
Good old Taft.
Good old Taft. There were a lot of pictures. A lot of famous people have gone there. A lot of politicians and whatnot.
Well, I have a thing here about his wife used to have parties.
Yes.
And some of the guests were John D. Rockefeller, Cole Porter, and Ethel and Lionel Barrymore, who staged readings of Shakespeare in the castle's Great Hall.
So let's talk about the Great Hall. So when you start the tour, you're having this conversation with the tour guide. He tells you it's very front loaded, so just be ready. He's telling you a lot of information. You're hearing all about Hammond and his deal.
How he got his money.
What he did. His patents, all this stuff.
His butler, who I think was his boyfriend.
Oh, 100%. I forgot about the little butler.
Hellman's. Bring
out the Hellmans.
It was either Hellman or Hillman.
Anyway, so he had this butler, and they like breezed over that. He met him.
When he was 14 in London. He brought him back with him.
Yes, he was bartending. Hammond was, right?
I think Hillman was.
Oh, the little 14-year-old was.
I don't know. They brought him back with him, and then he lived with them for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And his wife.
Yeah. Bizarre. Okay.
Let's just breeze over that.
Well, let's bring this up. Yeah. Where's this kid's parents? I'd love to go with you, governor. Like, what? Where's his parents?
Oliver.
More. Okay. So then he's like, it's time to go into the museum. So the castle itself. So we go down this narrow staircase, and this did get interesting. I thought this part was really cool.
It was impressive when you first walked in, and then Chris started talking to me.
You really didn't like him.
He was boring.
Let me put it to you this way. I tried to tip at the end, and Carolyn did not want to contribute.
I said he made enough money to that.
He did fine, she said. He did fine. That'll do, Chris. So we come down these windy stairs.
I'll tip anyone that goes above and beyond.
Okay.
But I felt like Chris just did his job.
You're a good tipper.
And he complained about his voice too much.
Well, to be fair, it was very moist in there.
It was moist, but it was hot.
It's damp. So this castle is damp, okay?
There's like seawater that comes in or something.
Yes, it had
like through the fireplace.
Yeah, there was the walls were dripping. I'm like, really? Was this a comfortable place to hang out?
No.
So you come down the staircase, and
And we're in the great room.
It's very medieval, yes. And then it opens into this giant great room. And it looked very ballroomish, but like medieval ballroom.
Yeah.
That's the take I would say. That's how I would describe it. Very tall ceilings.
An organ, a giant pipe organ.
I was just going to say. Yeah.
And then that throne.
Yep. He had
a throne that's sort of like built into the wall, and they said he used to sit in there in his pajamas.
Yeah.
Because that's not weird.
Yeah. And just think. Yeah, okay.
Think about Satan.
Think about Hammond. And the organ was pretty impressive, actually.
Except it doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore. It used to work. And what he did was he took the organ, he has this organ brought in, and then he takes, I don't remember how many pipes there were, to be honest with you.
It was a huge number.
We had to keep guessing that part. I don't love guessing. Like, if you know, tour guide, just tell me. Like, one guess is fun. You're engaging the audience.
He's like, no, try again.
And we were like, 300.
Shut up, Chris.
He's like,
just tell us.
More than that. I'm like, oh, 1,000.
It was over 1,000.
Yeah, he's like, no, more than that. I'm like, oh, okay, when does this end? When does this stop? Please do
I have to pee, so could you tell us, Chris?
Can you move it faster? So it has, I think it was like 3,000 or something.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was upwards.
But it's broken, so it's not that impressive.
Okay, I know you're angry. You took us there.
I know.
Okay, and now we're talking about it on the episode, so I'm going to need you to get on board, lady. I was a good sport. I wanted ice cream the entire time, and I kept talking about it. So the organ, I thought you had it. This was interesting to me. They have this organ. It has, we'll call it 3,000. We can fact check that and put it in the notes. He had all of the pipes. You couldn't see them. So, like, if you go to a big grand cathedral or if you go somewhere where there's an organ, you can see all the pipes. These, he put them in the walls.
Yeah, he hid some of them
in the walls. He hid them so that when people would play the organ, his guests would be startled because it was so loud. And if you touch the walls up high, they look from far away, and the ceiling as well. It looks solid. It's not. It's painted fabric so that the pipes can make noise through the ceiling and the. I wonder though if there isn't something more to that with the radio waves, brain waves, right? Like he didn't want anything solid so that he could definitely whatever he's doing, his weirdness. Yeah. There were people there from the South, and they kept going, so that organ doesn't work, huh? It's broken? Did you break it? Who broke it? I'm like, these are not important questions.
They're not the questions.
They're not the questions that we want. Tell us more about the seance.
Well, he also had a bunch of cats. That part was pretty funny. When he talked about the cats, and whenever a cat would die, he'd put it in a jar in formaldehyde. Yes. And this article goes further and said that when a cat would die, he would put the cat in the jar of formaldehyde and drive around Gloucester as a funeral for the cat, and then come back and put it in the mausoleum.
I mean,
but then in the 80s, some kids broke in and took the cat, so they moved his body to a different location.
Yeah, he was buried on property with all these cats.
But who puts their cats in jars of formaldehyde?
I mean, this guy.
This kook.
So so we're in the Great Hall, and it is quite grand. I mean, I understand why people would come, and there were parties.
Cool in there anyway.
Parties there. They said, I read that Walt Disney came and visited, and he played.
We had castle stuff in there too, so he made it look like a castle.
Yes,
and that part was cool.
Well, Hammond Castle.
No, but like part of the castle looks like the next part looks like a.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this part was like the castle part.
Medieval, like Beauty and the Beast shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next part, when you're out by the water, that looks like an Italian.
Still Beauty and the Beast, but the town.
Well, that's in France. So it looks like an Italian marketplace. Remember? And they had all the carvings that would tell you what the shop.
Well, one of the storefronts. Yeah, let's pause for a second.
Yeah.
So we're still in the Great Hall. Carolyn was talking about that big throne he has. It's like tucked in this little thing, and he would sit in it for hours. He never slept at night. He'd stay up all night.
Stay up night and sit in his throne.
He also had at the front of this, what's considered the front, was that pulpit type of seat.
Oh, that was that was a seat for when they would. Oh, that was when the Pope, or like at a Catholic church when someone would speak a long time, they would have like this little shelf that they could sit on because they'd be standing for a long time. It actually turned into a chair.
Yeah.
And he would never tell anybody that it turned into a chair until after they were standing there for hours. He was a dick.
Such a dick. Such a smart dick.
I forget what that was called, though.
I forget what it was called as well. It doesn't matter. It was like one of the tiny tidbits that he was telling us that I was like, I don't really want to hear more about the seance.
I wanted to hear more about the test. I mean, he did ESP testing for a year.
ESP is extrasensory perception, right?
And this woman was clairvoyant, and he did all these experiments to kind of disprove what she was doing or prove, and it was inconclusive. But it was like a fascinating study, and he didn't even talk about it.
Conversely, down in the tour, so after you leave the great room, you go out into this courtyard. There's a pool.
It's like a fountain, a pool.
Yeah.
It used to rain in there. They had a ceiling where he could make it rain.
Yeah.
Or turn on stars, but that broke.
Right. They need money, basically. Hammond Castle needs some money.
You should donate.
You should donate.
No, they said they couldn't fix it when they did renovations. And I was like, that's too bad because that sounds cool.
What was interesting to me when you move into the courtyard piece of this thing, because it does have glass, it's glass covered.
Yeah, you can
glass
see
ceiling. Lots of plants, which I thought was really cool. So it does feel like you're outside. And he had a whole wall that had Italian gravestones.
Yeah, broken gravestones.
Broken gravestones that he had brought back from Europe and put in the wall, like kind of as bricks.
So that is going to stir up some
That's right.
paranormal activity.
And then the storefronts that you were talking about, those, I don't think they were all from Italy, but they were.
But the idea of that area was Italy.
Yes. And so that was interesting. The sarcophagus. He had another one of those out there. It was just really kind of mismatched.
And then you could go up into the bedrooms, and that's where Hillman had a bedroom, or Hellman, whatever his name was, and his wife had a bedroom, and then he had a bedroom. And there's also secret passageways and things like that. Yeah. So I think that's how he got around with Hillman.
I was waiting for the second part of that.
But this is interesting in this article. It said that a show, Bewitched, if you know Bewitched from reruns.
Samantha.
They filmed a few scenes of the hit show Bewitched at Hammond Castle. And at the Fisherman's statue on Stacy Boulevard for the episode titled Darren on a Pedestal, in which magically Darren switches places with the statue. And he didn't mention that. I mean, Bewitched was in the 70s.
Yeah, but still, that's a pretty
cool tidbit.
Yeah. He also didn't mention that it was Chris. He also didn't mention that they were on an episode of Ghost Hunters.
No, he didn't mention that at all. And that's how I even knew
Season
about
8, episode 23.
And in 1975, the Archdiocese of Boston owned the castle, which was also weird because he wasn't Catholic.
No, he didn't have any religion at all.
So the Catholic Church owned it at one point, and then because of the maintenance costs, the organist Virgil Fox bought it for the price of $68,000.
What? That's crazy.
And he used to have concerts there for the maintenance of the building. But then he sold it when the concerts failed to generate enough money. Yeah, no one wants to come to an organ concert, Virgil.
How many songs do you have, Virgil? And one more time.
And now I'm going to play While My Guitar Gently Weeps on the organ for you.
And it has over 3,000 pipes, so buckle up.
And then a lot of people say it's haunted, and they said that it's haunted by, I have this here. It's haunted by his wife, Hammond, and a groundskeeper that apparently died while working at the castle. And it's believed that the spirit of the man still roams on the property, so he's still trying to take care of the plants and the landscaping, and his wife. And several individuals have claimed that have been spirits moving about the facility that are not recognized. Several unexplained phenomena such as ghost pictures, ghost videos, and occurrences seem to indicate there's a high level of paranormal activity that seems to occur at this grand castle. If you're interested in the paranormal, there are self-guided tours that can be taken at the haunted Hammond Castle.
Right.
That sounds really haunted, and we did not experience any of
Maybe
that.
they don't talk about the hauntings during the day.
It's like my optometrist that doesn't talk about the fact that it used to be a funeral home.
I, first of all, still can't believe that you go to that same optometrist. Second of all, I mean, does it feel like a funeral home in that office?
Kind of.
So they didn't renovate it.
They moved it. They turned it, and one of the lady that did my eyes last time says she doesn't go to the basement.
Did my eyes.
Well, I don't know. What do you call it? She looked at my eyes. She
Examined.
looked at the back of my eyes.
She examined your eyes.
Your eyes look really good. The back of your eyes look really good. I'm like, is there OnlyFans for that?
Oh, my God. There's got to be. Fact check that.
Can I have this picture then?
I would like to take this and post
But
it.
she in 7 years in working there, she's never gone to the basement.
Well, yeah, because that's where they take.
That's where the
they
morgue was.
do the embalming and all that stuff. Crematorium.
They won't. I brought it up to one of the other optometrists, and she's like, "We don't talk about that."
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, "Well, clearly you should."
It's all I want to talk about.
So yeah, so we have to go back, I think, and do a ghost
Yeah,
tour.
I guess so, but I just feel very.
You got to be careful on
disappointed.
those stairs, though. That was probably the scariest part.
The stairs were insane, and it was wet and raining, so slick rock, right?
Yep.
Um,
I need a beer stein anyway. I regretted not buying one.
did you really?
No,
Oh,
not
Okay.
at all.
this article, crazy girl. Oh, I had it wrong. This just in, I do have how many pipes? 8,400
Yeah,
pipes.
crazy pipes. That must have been so loud because my dad's church, when I was little, when he was writing his sermons, I'd go play the organ. I don't know how to play the organ, so you know how good that sounded. But it was pretty loud, and there wasn't that many pipes. But you could see all the pipes behind.
Yeah.
It was like the
Yeah.
whole wall of pipes. It's like a pretty big pipe organ. It was loud.
I don't think your typical organ has 8,400 pipes.
No.
It was one of the largest in the world. Hammond claimed that he built the castle just to hold it.
Well, when you have money like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. It talks about all the relics that he's surrounded by.
Did they mention the skull that we didn't get to see?
Yeah, they did. It's one of the. Supposedly, the skull is, as you said,
Yeah,
one
from
of.
Christopher Columbus's crew.
Yeah. This says wandering through the immense stone castle surrounded by relics of the past.
It's not immense, by the way. It's pretty
not.
small.
I thought it was pretty small too.
They had a drawbridge that doesn't work because he just wanted to say he had a drawbridge.
And a moat.
Yeah, and a moat. And the funniest I thought was his statue. He had a statue of himself built, and he made it more muscular than he was. And he wanted it to pee in the garden, but they said he couldn't do that. So now it's in the.
Well, it used to. And then when
the Catholic Church took it over, they put a leaf over his junk.
Yeah. Very small leaf.
It wasn't a very big leaf at all.
It's funny because in this article that I read, they said they believed in spiritualism, he and his wife, and often hosted seances at their home. Hammond also felt that the spirits were attached to some of the items in his collection.
They absolutely
absolutely
were.
are. You don't take gravestones and move them across the world.
Broken gravestones.
The inventor even conducted scientific experiments around psychic phenomena, which you talked about with the ESP. And interestingly, Hammond was known to have said that after his death, he planned to come back as a black cat, which is why I wonder if he embalmed all those cats
So
and
you
then
could just come in and take one of them?
yeah, and he was
could be.
buried with them, which is very strange.
It's stranger that someone stole them.
Yeah, the haunting stuff. The only things that I read were the apparitions, like you were talking about. The Hammonds have been seen there, and they say there's mysterious voices, which I always think that's strange when you hear about these big grand homes or castles or what have you, and they're like, oh, you can hear voices. They're very echoey.
Yeah, but
There's no insulation. It's stone. So
yeah, it was pretty cavernous in
Yeah.
the great room.
yeah.
Maybe they're hearing the hologram in that other room.
Oh, we haven't even gotten to the hologram yet.
He also built a remote-controlled dog. That was like high tech at the time, but it was not very high tech.
It was a coffee table
With legs.
with wheels. That's what. It was a wheelie. Chris made that sound amazing. And then
we saw it in the room,
like,
and I was like,
oh,
this
I would
sucks.
never pet that. I would never pet that coffee table dog.
I would not describe it as a dog.
No, I wouldn't either.
It's a square piece of metal with wheels.
You know, I feel like I'm a little snotty when it comes to stuff like that, though, because MIT has that Jaguar or
Oh, the thing that runs?
the cat thing or whatever, and I'm like, why doesn't it have a head?
It doesn't need a head.
But it should have one.
Well, if you're going to call it a dog or a cat, it needs to have a head.
I mean, right?
Then you just got to call it something
You
else.
got to call it something else then. But I just never understood
like
that. Boink. I never understood MIT's four-legged thing that can run. They call it's some sort of
It's
cat.
an acronym for something.
Yeah. No head. Just go the extra mile, MIT. Where's your creativity? I mean, I get you're the smartest, most innovative people on the planet. Put a head and a face on that thing. Give it a little whisker. Give it a wire whisker or two. They say books fly off shelves.
I wish I had seen some of that.
So I tried to find. You had seen the books flying off the
Yes.
shelves? Yeah. I will go back with you and we'll do the ghost tour.
We'll do the ghost tour at night.
I will go with you at night and we'll record some of it, and I'm sure it's a completely different experience. Here's something interesting. We love ghost hunters.
Yes.
Did you know that your boyfriend,
Jason?
no, not, well, yes, Jason from Ghost Hunters, but
Josh Gates.
yes,
Yeah, we were just talking about Josh Gates.
he was on this episode.
I know, because he used to partner.
I know.
I know.
I know, Kelly.
I've seen all the
I've
episodes,
seen it.
Kelly.
Well, I hadn't seen this one, so I
He
tried to
used
find it.
guest on Ghost Hunters a lot when his show wasn't as big as it is now.
Right.
When he was on the Sci-Fi Channel, so he would team up with Jason and Grant and all those guys, and
Yeah.
he would go on the ghost tours with them.
Have we talked about your obsession with him yet?
It's not an obsession. It's not. He just weighed in on the submarine that's missing because he was in that submarine on one of his episodes.
I can't. I get upset about the submarine
I know.
because they're
They're running out
of time. I don't know when this will
But
air.
he was in there, and he's pretty tall. Like that place, it looks cramped. They showed like the seating configuration. I was like, I wouldn't go on that.
Someone has to sit on the floor. If you don't know what
But
we're talking
4
about,
of them, they all have to sit on the floor, but only one person can stretch out their legs.
we're talking about Titan, which is the submersive that
That went to see the Titanic.
went to see the Titanic, and
And
as
it's
of this recording is still missing. They had about 17 hours of air left or something like that. So I'm sure when this airs, that mystery will be solved. But
They heard banging, so
They did
hopefully
hear-
they can find
in
them.
30-minute increments too, which that's whoever decided that on that little team of people, smart.
Well, the guy that is manning it is like the owner of the whole thing. I
Right,
think.
but I'm saying they knew enough to time it
Yeah.
so that it wasn't just some random
Random.
thing. They were hearing it like as a call for help.
But getting back to Josh Gates.
Sorry.
Josh Gates is the host of Expedition Unknown, among other shows.
Yes.
And he is a archaeologist
From Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, from Manchester by the Sea, and he went to Tufts University. And he goes and he does shows on paranormal, on ghosts. He did that. You would love this episode, that Island of the Dolls.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Creepy.
I would not
He
like
go
that.
he the most recent one he did. There's one on tonight about ships from World War II that are in Lake Superior. But
That's pretty interesting.
yeah, last week was a pyramid
And it's Destination Unknown.
expedition. Unknown.
That's a song.
Destination Truth was a show that he had.
Okay. Got
And
it.
now there's Expedition X, but he's only randomly on that. He sends 2 other people out to do his stuff.
Well, to bring this full circle.
But he's very interesting. He's smart, and when he travels, he immerses himself in the culture. Like, he's not an ugly American when he travels. That's why I like him, because he's smart and he's just a good host.
He's cute as a button.
And married with 2 kids. He's just a really good.
Well, I tried to find this
person.
episode because I wanted to watch it. And
It's
you
old though.
can't find season 8, episode 23. It's from 2012. You can't find it anywhere.
Mm-mm.
So, pretty bummy. Yeah. Hammond Castle let's rate the tour that we took during the day on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being will not return, 5 being I enjoyed it so much I nearly peed my pants. Where do you rate it?
I'd be in the middle. I'd give it a 3 because maybe I could have asked more questions to kind of steer him in the direction of the stuff that I was interested in.
Mm.
But overall, I didn't find it as interesting as I thought it was going to be, and maybe it just didn't live up to the hype that I gave it.
Yeah.
But after seeing the show about all the occult stuff and all the stuff that I was interested in, and then not being really told about it and not seeing the skull and all that other stuff, it was kind of disappointing.
I think you're probably right that if we go back for the ghost tour at night, they save all that for the night.
They bring out the skull.
I mean, maybe he wears the skull. that it's a puppet situation, like a weekend at Bernie's. There's a lot of haunted places on the North Shore, so I made a list because I feel like it's, it's summertime. Summertime, everybody. So we can
go get your fried clams.
Go get your fried clams. Oh, I mean, Woodman's.
I
mean, 5 out of 5.
10 out of 10. Are you kidding me?
Fair.
The fish alone gets a 5.
It was featured in the film Grown Ups, starring Adam Sandler. And, it's a really cute. It's very charming. It's on the water.
But it's also good. Like,
it's
a
good.
lot of those places are, it's a tourist trap. No, it's actually really good.
It's both.
Yes.
It's both. The Garrison Inn in Newburyport. I think we should go there. And I feel like this is directly from one of my bits. Ask a Newburyport native and you'll find that room 408 is said to be haunted by Sarah White Bannister, the heir to the building's original owner. So that's haunted. We can go see that. The Old Hill, I can never say this word.
Burial.
Burial or burial?
It's burial.
Oh, Muriel. Ground in Newburyport. That's also haunted. And then there's Maudsley State Park in Newburyport. Newburyport is like a hotbed.
Well, because they were a big port, hence the name. But they had a lot. No, they had a lot of like. They had a lot of crime and stuff like that, where they were like bringing stuff out to ships, and people got murdered, and so there's a lot of like bad blood from way back. Like I did that gentleman's club, which is not a strip club. I realized that right after I said it. Because that's what they call it. It's a private gentleman's club from the 1700s.
Stop saying that.
And no women are allowed, and you have to be a member. I did a show there.
That seems awful.
And they invited the ladies, but it was fun and like what's his name? Benedict Arnold.
Kind of rapey, but
no,
fun.
Benedict Arnold stayed there, and that's haunted. And they were telling me all about the stuff that happens there. That
What's
would
it
be
called?
I don't remember. It's right downtown. It's like this old building, and the woman that used to be like the one that served all the men there, she haunts the place. And
like served or served?
No, Kelly, it's a
no. That's a legit question. I feel
no.
Like.
She
I'm not
served
being
food.
fresh.
She didn't serve herself up on a platter.
Oh well, however you like it. Dungeon Rock and Lynn.
I don't want to go to Lynn.
Fair. Howard Street Cemetery in Salem, and then Hammond Castle, which we've already gone to, but we'll go at
do
night.
The ghost tour, and then we'll circle back and do another episode and tell you if it was good or lame.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it'll be scarier at night.
Yeah.
It was really
maybe
scary.
We'll see a formaldehyde cat.
I guess. Maybe. That's so weird.
Who does that?
Yeah. So we were talking about this. I just feel like we should pay it some respect. There are people missing on that Titan submersive.
No,
thing.
I'm not making light of it.
No. I know. I just don't want people to think that we because by the time this airs, we'll have.
And people are making jokes, and it's not appropriate. Like,
no.
Like it's crazy what's happening, and I hope that they do find them and they are still alive.
They're the tickets to go on that $250,000.
Yeah.
So
I don't even like to ride some rides at Disney World, so I'm not going on that.
I said to Carolyn, I was like, I would have. First of all, it's too small, too tiny. The second we went under the water,
I'd panic.
The hatch closed and we went under the water. I'd be like, nope. So I wonder. You had said this. I wonder if someone kind of got claustrophobic or lost their freaked out a little bit. Also,
hit something.
I don't mean to bring it up, but they did go down towards the Titanic and aliens,
please,
ghosts. It's a burial ground, basically. I don't know. Hopefully, it's not. Hopefully, they find it.
Yeah.
And everybody is as safe as can be. All right. Well, I mean,
if you like castles and you like gift shops, you should go to Hammond
if you
Castle.
like beer steins and tea cozies and tea
And the
towels,
view from the ladies' room is pretty epic.
I didn't think it was that great, to be honest. I mean,
Out of all the windows you can look out of, it was.
sure, if I'm basing it only on the windows of this castle, yes, it was a beautiful view. But, I mean,
We let one of the southern guys come in to see the view.
we did let him in the ladies' room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're like, it's just us. Come look at the view.
And then it was as I was leaving, I was like, do we want to tip Chris? And Carolyn was like, he did fine. No.
He did do fine.
Yeah. He was fine. All right. Listen, we'll be back with more things that make you feel Fraidy. Where are you working this summer? A lot of fun places?
I'm doing a lot of fun places.
Me too. I have a pretty fun summer coming up.
A big show in my hometown that'll be good.
Yeah.
Down on the Cape a bunch
Same.
of times. Yeah. I got
Yeah.
stuff going on.
CarolynPlumber.com.
It's where you can find out where I'll be.
Yeah. You don't want to plug my website?
Oh, you're at KellyMcFarland.com. That's MAC.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. I'm just trying to tee it up over here, everybody, and
I'm tired.
clearly. Do you want to describe your T-shirt before we go? Carolyn always has on a great T-shirt.
Well, today I spilled tacos on it, but this is Michigan J. Frog from the Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
He's the hello, my baby, hello, my honey.
I was not expecting to
hello,
end
my
this.
ragtime dog.
I wasn't expecting to end this episode with an impression. Thank you, Carolyn.
You're welcome.
Yes, we'll see you next time on the Fraidy Cat Podcast.
Okay.